Alright, guys, alright. We are here with the ferrets, and we're going to talk about the Argo Raft.
Yes.
So, how are you, ferrets?
I am doing lovely.
So, I've got a splitting headache, and Ferrets is waiting for his washing, so we're going to knock this out pretty quick. Alright, so the Argo Raft has obviously gone live. We knew about this ship. We knew about it. We made a video about a week ago-ish talking about it, which, by the way, blew up. And thank you for everybody who did watch it and who subscribes. Very much appreciated. I'll try and keep the information like that coming. So, obviously, you guys can, take advantage of it. So, the Argo Raft. So we do have some information here regarding it. Now, I believe it holds, is it 32 SCUs, I think they said?
96.
96 or 32? Or is it per container is 32?
It's per container.
Right, okay.
It's 32 per container for a total of 96 in all.
Cool, right, yeah. Alright, so at the end of the day, obviously it is the typical Argo style. Has the typical Argo paint job. We knew about this pretty much because we had already seen it from the leaks and stuff like that. But it does obviously have some advantages over the Freelancer, and obviously we'll go in and we'll talk about that. So obviously the big difference between this and a Freelancer is at the end of the day is that the cargo on this is external. So where the Freelancer, obviously you have to then walk in and obviously put the cargo boxes down, and you have to load it manually with the smaller boxes. Obviously with this one, you obviously can just simply pull up, drop the existing container ship, go over, pick up another one, and then fly off. Right? Or pick up 3 and fly off, whatever it may be. So at the end of the day, the rate of transfer on this compared to something like the MISC is obviously going to be a lot faster. You're going to be able to move the cargo from one spot to another with this at a really, really quick rate. As long as it's already loaded up in the container, and obviously you don't have to worry about that. Now, obviously at the end of the day, if you're going to be moving just a small amount of boxes, obviously throwing everything into these containers is obviously going to be a bit of a waste, and that's where you might have to obviously manually load things or something like that. But at the end of the day, if you've got one container or up to 3 containers, this is going to be really, really fast to load. Fez, what are your thoughts? It sounded like you had something to say. You want to jump in?
Yeah. Tom, are you gonna go for the Q&A?
Yes.
Yeah,
I've got it up on there.
Okay, cool.
Yep. So, obviously at the moment, we just want to talk about sort of our initial thoughts. Then we'll go over the Q&A, and then we'll let you guys know whether we think it's worthwhile buying or whatnot. Obviously the design, I like the design. I think it looks beautiful. It's typical Argo style. It's got V-tail thrusters and stuff like that. It's got the external cargoes. The only major difference or major downfall with this compared to the MISC, the Freelancer, is that your cargo is on the outside. So I imagine in the future we're going to be able to target those docking clamps. We're going to be able to blow them off, and your cargo will drop, and you're going to have to come back and pick it up, or get someone else to come back and pick it up if you're under fire, or whatever it may be. So pirates are going to be able to, I presume in the future, to be able to aim for those external clamps, allowing them to capture your cargo box. So obviously at the end of the day, the cargo is not as secure as it would be in something like the Freelancer, where obviously it's stored on the inside. But at the end of the day, this is something where obviously you're trading security for load of speed or speed loading and something like that. And I also think they said it had a couple of small guns. It comes with like a size 2, size 3. I think it's size 3. but there is also 2 points for size 1s, but we'll get all of that into the Q&A. Now, the biggest thing about... Sorry.
Oh.
Sorry, I was just going to say, the biggest thing about this is that the cargo refactor, when it comes in, is where this thing is going to come and play, and this cargo refactor that's going to be used for this is obviously also going to be used for the whole seat eventually. So here's the thing, guys, is that this is obviously going to be the test bed for the cargo refactor, and once they've done it here, then obviously the whole sea will then get these container ship upgrades, blah, 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 blah. So that's obviously very interesting. Fez, what are your thoughts? Do you have anything to comment before we jump in the Q&A?
So we were a bit wrong on one tiny detail.
What's that?
The raft does have a quantum drive, so...
Okay, I don't think we ever said it didn't have a quantum drive. I don't think we...
I mean, if we did, then at least we need to know... Oh, no, not now, but...
Yeah.
I mean,
So, I don't think we ever talked about the fact of the possibility about it not having a quantum drive. I always assumed it would. Because here's the thing. It's a transport ship, right? At the end of the day, there's not much point transferring cargo if you don't have a quantum drive. So I always figured it would have a quantum drive in it.
One more thing that I want to also to say is that if the Argo Raft is supposed to be the so-called the entry level for a cargo, then that right there could possibly be a hint at a future like a cargo at a future cargo ship that could be much larger and that could transport a larger amount of these cargo containers.
Yeah, so, and this is the thing, right? I've seen a lot of people on Twitter talk about the fact that the Argo Raft is a waste because, we've already got the MISC, we've already got the Freelancer, blah, 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 right? Here's the thing. At the end of the day, eventually, I would presume that we're going to get transport ships for most of the brands out there. I imagine that it's not just going to be MISC or Argo that makes a freighter. I imagine we'll have MISC, we'll have Argo, we'll probably have a Cutlass, we might even have a Crusader ship. I'll tell you what, they make a Crusader transport. Oof, I'm in. I love the Crusader ships. But at the end of the day, it's like a car manufacturer, right? You go through and you look at your four-wheel drives. You don't just have Ford that make four-wheel drives, right? It's obviously it's Ford, Toyota, like Holden even, like there's a whole range of people that make four-wheel drives. Now, obviously they all have their own style, they all have their own branding, and that's what I suspect we're going to see with the freight. For example, yes, we will have a Argo that obviously for the raft that has light freight, and yes, obviously we have the MISC, obviously the Freelancer for light freight. Sure, doesn't necessarily mean we're not going to get a Crusader or a Cutlass or whatever it may be. And to be honest, the more light freighters that are out there, the more chance you're going to find a ship that you like, style-wise. So people stop complaining, to be honest. But, yeah. I don't know. Anything else before we jump in the Q&A?
Shoot, there was one more thing that I was going to say, but I forgot what it was. So, no.
Alright, let's jump into it. So for the Q&A, what does the Rust... no, sorry.
Just remembered.
Alright, go back. What is it?
So, with the potential release of the Cargo Refractor coming in 3.16, right? I think so.
I think it got pushed back.
Anyway,
it got pushed back.
And well, anyway, that's not important right now. But with the cargo refractor somewhere's on the horizon,
I'm just checking now. Yep. Yeah.
that that may play a vital role with with the mining career the loop because it means that you could potentially now remove the saddlebags from the ships. I think, or maybe not. Then if you and if you, and if you can't do that, then that just means that maybe when you are done refining the materials at a refinery deck, maybe you could turn uh, you could turn the materials into the standardized 32 SCU, then into those the cargo crates, and then you could and then you could then you could turn you could turn around and load them onto the raft and sell them a, at a market potentially.
Yeah, look, at the end of the day, obviously cargo containers, for example, right? So the containers are basically they're what the IT industry calls a container. And with the system that they're designing now, right, is you and I have talked about this off record before, like not off record, but not like on video, where ships are nothing more than containers. So your lifeboat, your escape pods, that's another container. Your backpack, that's a container, right? Your armor is a container. Everything is a container. So it's a container inside of it. It's like the Russian dolls, right? You imagine the outside Russian doll is your ship. The next inner Russian doll is obviously the container. The inner doll inside that is obviously the stock that is inside your ship. So it's the same with the saddlebags, right? It's just a different skin stuck on the side of a container. So when they bring in the cargo refactor, yeah, you probably find that mining and stuff will also be able to drop saddlebags as well. And that'll be part of the cargo refactor. I just looked it up. It's 318 for cargo refactor.
Darn it.
So yeah, so I think it got put back a couple of weeks ago. But at the end of the day, yeah, you're right. It's once you get the cargo refactor done, then you should be able to go through and drop your saddlebags, and then you'll be able to pick them up with your tractor beams on your ships and throw them into your backs of like your cutlasses and stuff. I don't think you're going to be able to pick them up with the Argo Raft because it looks like it's going to be pretty uniform when it comes to picking up containers. But once you take those saddlebags to a refinery ship or a refinery deck, yeah, guess what? You're going to be able to then load the 32 times 3 containers onto your Argo Raft and then take that down to a place to sell. Yeah, pretty much. But let's jump into the Q&A and let's go through that. So RAFT is an acronym for Reinforced Advanced Freight Transport. I don't know where they get the reinforced part from, but I suppose it's got armor, but anyway. So question, why would someone choose the Raft over something like a Freelancer Max? What is the unique capabilities of the ship compared to its competitors? So this is where it's sort of like this question I find is a bit, look, obviously at the end of the day, the Raft is a different style than the Freelancer for a start. So if you're not really into the style of the Freelancer, then guess what? You have another option. But let's advance the question. The Raft is designed to compete more against the base Freelancer than the Max. However, it does hold its own in its design from the group to support the quick loading and unloading of standard 32 SUC cargo crates. Whilst you can, of course, fit these into a Max, it takes much longer due to the relatively narrow opening. Is it possible to lift and detach preloaded containers with a holding device at the ship's rear, thus gaining a time advantage when loading and unloading a container. Whilst not implemented at release, the aim when cargo requires physical loading and unloading. So that's what they're planning, is basically use the tractor beam to obviously go through and load and unload at a faster rate, because you don't have to worry about doors and stuff. Are the cargo containers on the raft the same type that we see the cargo decks of space stations? This is an interesting question. Yes, they are. They are the standard 32 SCU containers found at cargo decks. There's a hint there, boys. Will we be able to accommodate the containers carried by the MISC Hull series? Now, they say the Hull series and above uses the same 32 containers that the raft and the minimal equipment size containers, as their minimal capable size containers. So they do use the same stuff. Do I have access to the content of the cargo container from within the raft? No. There is no physical access to the cargo containers from within the raft. Once they're loaded, unless you physically exit the ship, you cannot access them. Which makes sense, I suppose. What is the secondary player's role in the two-person ship? The second player can use the remote turret for defense and undertake engineering repair roles when necessary, while the pilot concentrates on flying. Is this ship supposed to long-range cargo hauler, or is it short-range cargo vessel? Is the ship equipped with adequate crew compartments? The ship has adequate facilities on board for the crew, with beds, a bathroom, breakout area, and food making facilities, allowing the crew to tackle a wide range of hauling routes. How does the armor compare to other ships, cargo ships in this class? The raft itself is more armored than any other comparable cargo ship, such as the Freelancer and Cutlass, which have greater offensive firepower as an offset. So it's not going to be able to sit there and pick a fight. It might be able to defend itself for a short time, but the whole thing is get in, get out, don't F around. Does the Argo Raft have a tractor beam capable of moving containers as seen on the cargo decks, and where does it sit? Yes, the tractor sits on the rear of the ship to aid with loading and unloading. Can the tractor beam be used to tow a ship, or is it limited to cargo? The tractor beam is designed only to be moved with cargo containers, so unless a vehicle has the same volume or mass, a cargo container, it won't be able to be towed. How do we access the raft? There is a small crew lift and a docking collar. So it does have two, the lift and the docking collar. I believe there's a docking collar there for you guys to see on the image. Can a small vehicle fit inside the raft? No. The crew lift is only for personnel use and likely cannot fit any other vehicles. Certainly not intentionally. Hashtag, I'm putting this in here. Hashtag, make it fit. What do the four pads that look like bumpers above the cockpit? They're just rule of cool detail, have no gameplay functionality. So, disclaimer, the answer accurately reflects development intents at the time of writing, but the company and development teams reserve the right to adapt, improve, or change feature of the ship design in response to feedback. Playtesting, design, revisions, and other considerations to improve balance or quality of the game overall. Right. So, obviously after all that, then obviously we simply get to the price of it. So, the Argo Raft War Bond is $110 US, or IAE with credits is $125.
It's actually not it's not priced bad either.
No, it's actually quite cool.
It's surprisingly cheap, actually.
Yeah. Now, I presume, obviously, the War Bond comes with lifetime insurance.
It should.
Let me double check. Yeah, lifetime insurance and the hangar, which I already have all the hangars anyway, but the lifetime insurance. So if you do want to upgrade it to something like the Hull C, it is a nice LTI token and a good starting spot. But do keep in mind, you can only upgrade up, you can't go down in value. So I think the Freelancer is actually cheaper. The base Freelancer, is it cheaper? Or what's the price of the base Freelancer first? Do you know?
I could find out real quick.
Yeah, if you can, Ben. Yeah, please. As for paints, guys, obviously we do have the 3-paint pack. And then obviously it was pretty much what we were informed with the leaks. We obviously have the black and yellow. We have the black and white stripes, and then we have the Arctic one, or the polar one, which is white with the black, which I quite like actually, to be honest. And then obviously the standard color, which is obviously the orange.
So, the base Freelancer is like around the 110 a dollar, so they're pretty even.
Yeah, evenly priced. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like I said, obviously at the end of the day, guys, if you were to like upgrade it to a Hull C, for example, which is what I probably would be thinking, at the end of the day, it's a good starting spot, and then obviously you can upgrade it later, and you've got that $110 value. I wouldn't expect it to go up much because it is complete. So at the end of the day, I'm not expecting it to jump or anything like that. It's not like it's going to be like a concept where, like, for example, the Ben Merchantman. All right. So apart from that, Fez, wrapping up finally. What are your thoughts, opinions, price wise? What are your thoughts?
Well, I bought the ship already, and I have been using it in the PU.
Yep.
The candles are pretty good, actually.
It does have VTOL engines. Yep.
It does have a VTOLs, which is really nice.
Mm-hmm.
That's actually the first. It's the first. It's the first Argo ship that I actually like.
Mm.
So that's saying something.
Mm. Yeah, I like it too. I like it too, actually.
It's a pretty nice little ship here. So
yeah. Yeah, guys, I actually like it. I like the design. Like I said, obviously, look, I've already got sort of like a small freighter, which is Star Runner, pretty much. So at the end of the day, obviously, if I wanted like a light freighter, I would just use that. But that said, I was contemplating getting a Hull C, and at the end of the day, this could be a good stepping stone. Buy this and then upgrade the Hull C later, and that way you don't have to spend the whole $300 and something up front. But yeah, it's always good to break those things up. And do keep in mind, you do have LTI, so if you were to upgrade to a ship of higher value, you can also CCU it as well. But yeah, I like the design. I like it. Look, it looks cool. Like I said, if I was to buy it, it would be LTI token. But that's just simply because I already have the Star Runner and I have a Cutlass and blah, 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 and all this sort of stuff to already go through and do sort of light cargo running. So, yeah. So at the end of the day, guys, yeah, I personally, I would say if you're after light freight, definitely interesting. If you obviously were thinking about getting into combat with it, I probably would suggest no. Also, if you're thinking about maybe taking it into places like Nynx or Pyro, where it's a little bit less lawless, maybe a Cutlass or a Freelancer might do you better. But around the high-sec security areas, like, for example, around Stanton system and stuff like that, should be fine. And obviously, do keep in mind, it is going to be something that you can load and unload a lot faster because of that ability to drop and pick up those containers. But guys, let us know what your thoughts are in that comment section below. Obviously, this video has been helpful. Please smack that like button. If you're new to the channel, welcome and subscribe. Apart from that, guys, let us know what your thoughts on the Argo Raft. Yeah. Have a great night. Enjoy, everybody. Obviously, Ferretz's details for his YouTube channel, his Twitch, and everything will obviously be in the description below. Please go and give him a follow, a like, subscribe, all the jazz. And apart from that, Fez, you want to say bye?
Yeah, goodbye. Have a good time.
Have a good night, guys. Just before we go, I believe you can go and hire it from the expo?
Yes, you can. You can rent it from the expo. And before we leave, I want to wish the American people a happy Thanksgiving.
Yes, that too. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. I'm not American yet. Long story. But yeah, happy Thanksgiving, everybody, and I hope you have an amazing Thanksgiving day. Have a good day, everybody. Say bye.
Bye.
See you, everybody.